The purpose of this video is to show you where the distance formula comes from so that we don't have to memorize that formula, because it's kind of a tedious formula to memorize. We just learned the Pythagorean Theorem, and sure enough it's going to show up right here and right now. And let's look at what we've got here. Look at the black line here. First of all, we're in the first quadrant because it's easier to think about what I'm about to talk about in the first quadrant. The vertical line is the y-axis, the horizontal line is the x-axis. And we've got 2 points. I've labeled them the first point x1, y1, and the second point x2, y2. Now the goal here is to try to figure out what the heck this distance is right here. Okay, we want to know the length of this segment. So let's think of this in terms of the Pythagorean Theorem. We want to know how to find a length. So what do we need? We need to have our 2 legs. So let's create those. Alright, so I'm going to create this one. And I need to force this into being a right triangle. Okay, so I need it to be perfectly straight here. Alright, now if we're looking at the lengths here, if we can identify what the lengths of these legs are, since this is a right triangle, we can find D, or the hypotenuse. So if we wanted to find the length of this leg, all you need to do is take x2, which is this length here, and remove this much of it. Okay, so this much needs to be gone. And then all you have left is a distance that's the same as this bottom leg here. Okay, so the original blue line down here was x2, that was the length. And the red bit that I want to take out is x1. So it follows this length is x2 minus x1. We want to take out this little bit over here. We want this gone. Now it's the exact same idea for this vertical leg here. We've got this whole length here, which is y2, and we want to take out this bottom bit, which is y1. So this piece here is y2 minus y1. Alright, so let's now use the Pythagorean Theorem. So we've got our first leg. Okay, our first leg is x2 minus x1 squared. Okay, let me move things around a bit so we have room. Okay, and then we're going to add our second leg, which is just y2 minus y1. Okay, and we want that squared. And then that'll give us this hypotenuse squared. Okay, so really what we've got here, this is our a squared, where this portion here is a. This is our b squared. This portion here is b. And then this is our c squared. Okay. So now if we want to solve for d, to get rid of that square, we just need to do a square root. And we have to do both sides. So our final formula then is going to be distance equals the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared, and then this is right here where the square root ends. So you have to be very careful to do everything inside the square root and then be done. In my opinion, that formula is really difficult to memorize. There's a lot of places you can mess up. It's just not fun. So if we just end up using the Pythagorean theorem, like I will in my next video, I'll show you exactly how to do it, then we don't have to memorize any formulas here for the distance formula. So here's the distance formula in a little bit of a cleaner method. And then what can you do instead of using the distance formula? Well, like I just said, use the Pythagorean theorem. Okay, because the distance formula is derived from the Pythagorean theorem. So therefore, it's a lot easier to use that Pythagorean theorem and cut it down to its basics rather than using a distance formula.